If you would like to engage with me more, I have an Instagram where I post very frequently. I will most likely respond to your messages as well. It just might take a bit of time, especially if I'm working at my job. I know social media apps are stupid, but it does help my content grow, so I feel like it is the perfect opportunity, but I won't get a TikTok. Thank you. I love you all so much.
Welcome to the world of Tales from the Trip.
One lonely night, I went to go do some LSD, but to my disappointment, I had no more left. I was really itching to do some form of drug, and I have already done things such as air dusters and other inhalants, but never propane. So my dumb 15-year-old self went fuck it, and I began to inhale. Times may be a little off because of the intensity of the trip. 1 a.m. I took my first hit and used conventional means of inhalants. I inhaled for about 15 seconds and held my breath for 30. Usually in my past, things like air dusters hit you really fast with this euphoric warmth, but this wasn't the case here. Confused, I took another hit once again, breathing in for 15 seconds and holding my breath for 30, and all I received was a light buzz. 1:02 a.m. I was laying on my side with one earbud in, listening to Drug Dealer by Macklemore. Suddenly, a terrifying tiny creature with no eyes, resembling a tooth fairy from Hellboy, crawls up my body, grabs my other headphone, and puts it into my ear while singing an inaudible lullaby to me. Terrified, I peek over my blanket to see where it had gone, and there are hundreds of them on my ceiling. When they realized that I saw them, they were quite unhappy, or should I say, absolutely fucking pissed. They decided to attack me, and this is the first time I had ever had a hallucination that could actually hurt me. This was traumatizing to me, because I once had a bad trip in acid where a clown with a knife stabbed me, and it didn't hurt, so the fact that this did almost brought me to tears. They swarmed me, clawing at my back and arms, and with every scratch, I felt their talons sinking into my flesh. I was able to wrap myself in my large blanket, which could somehow keep them out, and all they could do was tap on it. Suddenly, I felt a change in texture on my blanket. It was smoother, but with moving it across every foot or so, it would poke me. I decided to turn on the flashlight to my phone, and what I saw freaked me out. My blanket had turned into human skin, stitched together with teeth sticking out of it. And at that point, I was done. I threw off my blanket, ran into the bathroom, and stared into my reflection, watching it shift into some of the most terrifying things I have ever seen. At this point, I just decided to take whatever the trip threw at me. The scariest part by far was when I was looking into the reflection of the mirror. A decomposing human appeared and just grabbed my neck, pulled me to the ground, and started to choke me. I felt like this went on forever, until it just stopped. I looked around, and nothing was happening, and I crawled into my empty tub and started to cry. I wasn't only crying because of how scared I was, but also because of how happy I was that it was over. I have never read a story like this, and didn't even know something of this magnitude was even possible by simply huffing propane. To this day, I still have flashbacks of the terror, and now I currently live with PTSD. But on the bright side, if you can even call it that, I always used to be a scared little bitch about everything, and wouldn't even want to see horror movies. Now, nothing scares me, simply because nothing can compare to the hellish night. This is how it all started. Late tonight, just maybe 2 hours ago, after a great sexual encounter with my girlfriend and a nice hot shower, I walk to my computer, log on Facebook, and check my like page. My girlfriend, Haley, had went back to the washroom to brush her teeth. Sweet, just enough to take the last hit of this can without her knowing. I inhale one nice hit and cycle through another page's picture, also known as memes, as the wah-wahs kick in. So far, I'm getting that sweet euphoric wavy feeling I always get and go into my dreamlike state. All of a sudden, as I begin to chuckle at a funny picture portraying Patrick Starr with some funny dialogue pasted on the photo, it really kicked in. My chest tightened up. My whole life literally flashed before my eyes. Every rotten moment, every good laugh, every holiday, hell, even every shit I've taken. The pictures were rapidly changing back and forth from one to another on the screen. I heard the sound of an old TV shutting off, making that slight 4,000 Hz frequency it always does, but it lasted longer and got more in depth as it went on. Over that, I swear I heard two godly voices talking. "Are we gonna do this?" one said. The other responded, "Yes, we are. There's no going back now." I was scared, literally half to death. Then came the tunnel vision. The computer screen looked as if it was a million miles away. I felt my spirit slowly start to fade away. In my panic during the near-death experience, I quickly remembered my anxiolytic exercises my mom had taught me for my severe panic disorder. I started trying my hardest to control my breathing and lowering my heart rate. Then suddenly, everything faded back. I saw the face of death and came back. I proceeded at this point to yell out my girlfriend's name for her to come in the room. For some reason, I called her sister's name. She came into my room, to me puking and passing out face first into my own vomit. I then got up and began to have an anxiety attack and seize. She was really scared, but I knew it was going to be over soon, and I was going to live. My chest still hurts from this experience. This all took place in under 1 minute. I now do not take my life for granted and value everything and everybody in it. I will never, ever touch another can of duster, even if my keyboard is dusty as fuck. Ah, computer duster, is there a more vile inhalant out there? I am a 19-year-old with a rather dedicated drug-using hobby. I usually enjoy all types of drugs and have tried many. Apart from habitually weed smoking, I've dipped into opiates maybe a half a dozen times, tripped off a DXM for solid months, eaten large quantities of Benadryl, and delved into the world of tryptamines. I can basically hold my brain together, more or less, while high. When I saw you can get high off of computer duster, I was instantly intrigued. The taste was sweet, the lungs felt cool for a second, and then numb. I held my breath for a good 10 seconds before the buzz from hell came on. Massive tinnitus struck me as my thoughts increasingly break to a halt. I exhaled 45 seconds later, and my breath felt funny, almost like my lungs were a bottle of nail polish remover. The buzz just kept hitting harder until about a minute in, where things plateaued for a little bit. The space I was trapped in went by like hours. I thought I was dead. I felt like I was one with the universe, but in a bad way, very sinister. I was an insignificant speck that was doomed to view the universe from afar for eons until everything implodes on itself, at which point there will be blackness, but still a conscious mind. When I mentally hit the blackness, I kept counting to 3 and beat with my tinnitus, and feeling doomed because the universal language of math was stunted at 3, and therefore reality was put into suspended animation. I felt out of phase, almost like my soul was escaping, but the grip of life was just too strong. After coming down, all I thought about was how interestingly weird the whole thing was. So I thought another hit wouldn't hurt. Another huge hit. Big mistake. Back into the void I leaped. Scared and far from my home, I vowed to never touch this gas again. It made me sick afterwards, and the symptoms after contemplation felt inseparable from nerve damage. I felt dazed, like when you get punched in the head real hard. That's the best way I could explain head buzz during the come up and the come down. The plateau is being knocked unconscious. These inhalants suck. The interesting thought pattern and insights were abolished and forgotten by what I felt as an overall toxicity. I honestly felt dead. Beware.